Well, I was there for the beginning. I was there for the first anniversary.
Thank you so much.
And I'm very happy looking at the video of all the events and all the people who've been involved.
Right.
There's so many, and Takagi's coming tonight, and one of the people who was the winner is going to spend time in his restaurant.
Right.
So I'm very proud to have been involved. I think Saori's done a wonderful job. I got interviewed for her book, and I hope everybody buys her book.
We are selling over there.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So, and I'm looking forward to tonight and to Nobu. And I saw Michael Romano, who's a very important part of the organization. And I don't know if everybody knows, but we're in the Sony Club, and Morimoto-san worked at the sushi bar at the Sony Club a long time ago. So it's a really good event to bring everything full circle.
Right. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Okay, good luck.
今回ごはんソサエティが10周年をお迎えになったということで大変おめでとうございます。日本食は大変世界でも人気が高まっていて、私も日本大使の公邸でできるだけ日本の食事、それから日本のお酒を出すようにしておりますが、それはその素地としてですね、私もアメリカに68年に最初に来て合計して7年以上住んでおりますけども、やっぱり日本の食事に対する知名度が大きくこの間上がったと思います。それにはこのごはんソサエティをはじめとするいろいろな方々の努力があったからだと思って大変感謝しております。おめでとうございます。
スカラシップで4人のアメリカ人のシェフを受け入れていただきますけれど、皆さんに期待されていることとか、こういうことをしていただきたいというのがあれば教えていただけますか。
前回7年前に、受け入れさせていただいた時にはすごい日本料理のパーツしか教えることができなくって、で今ニューヨークでは日本の食材とかイングリディエンスがすごい流行ってるのはよく分かってるんですけれども、もうちょっとだしとかですね、そういうベースになるところから、あと懐石の流れみたいな、そこまで教えてあげれるといいなっていう、その日本料理が一時のブームに終わらずに長いこと続くように、ぜひそのだし、そしてコース、懐石っていう流れまで教えてあげれるといいなって思ってます。はい。
浅田屋さんの日本人のシェフも何か勉強になることがあると思われますか？アメリカ人シェフからインスパイアを受けられると思われますか？
絶対あると思います。今日の昼実はベルナルダンに行ってきたんですけれども、メインディッシュが、メルルーサの、干ししいたけ昆布ソースだったんですね。これも和食だと思いながら食べてたんですけれども、表面がすごいパリッとしてて、 実は和食には絶対ないテイストに仕上がっていて、お互いにインスパイアするっていうのが絶対にあると思いますし、ぜひそうであってほしいですね。
Hi, David Boulay. This is Yoshiki Tsuji of Tsuji Culinary Institute. I'm here in Japan to give you my warmest blessings and congratulations for receiving the Gohan Foundation Achievement Honor. Why did you receive this award? Oh, that's right. It was something to do with globalizing Japanese cuisine, right? It's been almost 15 years since we first came up with the idea of brushstroke, and it's been so much ups and downs, but we're still here. I still remember when you first mentioned something about opening a Japanese restaurant. I mean, I thought David Boulay, who has revolutionized French cuisine scenes in New York in the 80s, David Boulay, who has opened a huge market in Tribeca, David Boulay, who has absolutely no idea of punctuality, of showing up on time.
Please, Gohan Foundation, give him a watch.
David Boulay doing Japanese cuisine. I thought my first response was, no way, he can't do that. However, I distinctly remember that you had this clear vision of the benefits that Japanese cuisine can bring about and broaden our minds to the world of gastronomy. I mean, you already knew and understood then the power Japanese cuisine has over the international cuisine, and you knew it with historical and scientific logic. I mean, how on earth can someone who grew up in Connecticut with French descent can understand Japanese spirituality of annual events based on seasonality, geographical characteristics, and idiosyncrasies that Japanese cuisine and tradition has? I just couldn't understand that he can actually understand all this Japanese meshed aesthetics. But I was wrong. He is a true student of gastronomy. Moreover, you were absolutely adamant in keeping the authenticity of Japanese cuisine tradition. Now, that doesn't mean to say that we wouldn't curve the framework of Japanese cuisine tradition without losing its authenticity. You knew that tradition can only be protected and achieved through rigorous experiments. And it's a wonderful way and wonderful path to innovations in gastronomy. So I have become your partner in crime since. So, having said all this, we are splitting our prize money. I mean, you are receiving the prize money, aren't you? Or you can actually persuade Mr. Nobu Matsuhisa to split some of his shares of his company since he's so successful. Anyway, congratulations to both of you, and have a wonderful evening. I really wish I'm there with you to celebrate. Bye.
Chef David Boulay, you are my hero. 94, first time I tried your food. You served Kumamoto oyster with ova leaf and yuzu juice. It's steamed in a shell. Oh my gosh, you blew me away. Since then, I'm very big fan of you. And still now. And congratulations, and you are my hero. Thank you. ノブさん、この度はおめでとうございます。ノブさんはもう世界中に認められている世界のノブです。ノブさんが多分ね、初めてお寿司屋さんとして、そのお寿司はとっても素晴らしいけど、お寿司じゃなくて他のアラカルトでコールドやハットやいろんな面でもうそのアポタイザーを食べたくてみんな行きました。そういうシェフは世界で一人もいません。これがノブさんが初めてやったことです。もう本当に素晴らしいですね。ノブさん、本当おめでとうございます。これからもよろしくお願いします。
ノブさん、和食アンバサダー表彰誠におめでとうございます。ノブさんは22年前に出会って以来、 常に僕の目標でした。ノブスタイルの土台には和食があるといつもおっしゃっていますが、まさに今和食が世界遺産になったのもノブさんのお力なしには成し得なかったことと思っています。料理はファッション、常に進化しなければいけないとおっしゃっている通り、お酒も常に進化しなければならないという思いで、酒造りをしています。今後もご指導よろしくお願いします。いつまでも情熱のあるノブさんでいてくれるように頑張ってください。本日は誠におめでとうございます。
Did you enjoy reception? Thank you very much. Thank you for all the this building was built in 1984 for AT&T actually, but they stayed only 2 years here and then Sony took over. Then this floor was the executive office, but we decided to make this room as a executive dining room. And Mr. Barry Wine here was in charge. Oh, he's there. Could you stand up? Yes. He had a nice restaurant on the ground floor, and he wanted to come to Sony, join Sony, and then made this beautiful club for us. I know Miss Saori Kawano for many, many years. I respect her very, very much, not only because she has very nice business, but she founded Gohan Society, this Gohan Society, 10 years ago. And for Japanese cuisine and also for Japanese culture to appreciate. So I thought this time is a good time to invite Gohan Society to this Sony Club to have Gala. And Mr. Bure and Mr. Nobu, yes, with us, and Mr. Zagat is here, and Mr. Romano, yes, he's the dinner chairman, so he's
So, good evening. Thank you all so very much for being here. It's a great pleasure to be, and an honor to be among such distinguished guests. Special thanks to Onoyama-san for giving us this venue to make this evening possible. It's such a thrill to be looking out at this view. I don't know about you, I'm a native Manhattanite, and I feel like we're losing so much elegance and beauty to buildings that have nothing more to say than being tall these days. And to be here is just such a thrill. So thank you. And also a special thank you to our guests from Japan who flew in. Some were just coming for this event, which is pretty remarkable. So thank you to them. So briefly, in 1983, I returned from 6 years in Europe, in France and Switzerland, to New York City, working in different restaurants. And by that time, I had already been once to Japan. I was there as part of a culinary team with the Chez Max restaurant, which is no longer in existence. And we were part of a 15-country cooking competition in Tokyo. This was sponsored by Nestle, maybe the original Iron Chef kind of concept. And also, parenthetically, I'm proud to say we won a prize for Best Hors d'oeuvre category. So, but more importantly, we were only there for a week, but I was quite smitten by Japan. The food, the culture, and of course, the people. And it was at that time, that limited time, I did find some time to purchase my first traditional Japanese knives, which I still treasure. So when I came back to New York, friends who knew of my interest in fine knives told me about a place that had recently opened. This was '83. It was run by a very lively and interesting Japanese woman. And the place was called Korin. And I was told I could find excellent Japanese knives there. So I didn't realize at the time, but going to Korin and meeting Saori Kawano was in a way the second, it was the opening of a new door in my life. It was the second step in forging a tremendous bond between me and the culture of Japan. In 2005, and it's hard to believe that it's 10 years, Saori's vision and generosity of spirit once again led to an even stronger connection with the culture of Japan, and not just for me this time, but with the whole of the city. This was the year she founded the Gohan Society, with the mission, and I quote, to foster an understanding and appreciation of Japan's culinary heritage in the United States through outreach to chefs, culinary arts professionals, and all who admire and enjoy Japanese culture. On December 4th, 2013, I quote, washoku, the traditional dietary cultures of the Japanese, notably for the celebration of New Year, end quote, was added to UNESCO's Intangible Cultural Heritage list. Now, you might say that Saori Kawano's vision anticipated the action of UNESCO by 8 years. I think that's fair enough. But we are all extremely delighted by this well-deserved worldwide recognition of one of the world's greatest cuisines. And so in addition to the wonderful food, drink, and hospitality so generously provided by some of New York City's most celebrated chefs here tonight, part of this evening's agenda will be to honor 2 chefs who have contributed so much to the worldwide expansion and appreciation of washoku. I refer, of course, to Nobu-san and David Boulay. And looking forward, another part of the evening's program will be about providing 4 young chefs with an opportunity to experience the superlative cuisine firsthand in Japan. And now, along with Saori-san, please join me. She's as modest as she is magnificent. It is our very great pleasure to introduce our keynote speakers. Their names, you will agree, are synonymous with dining in New York City, and indeed, world-round. Since 1979, their work has kept the public extremely well informed about the ins and outs of the dining scene and helped us restaurateurs keep on top of our game. Please join me in welcoming Tina and Tim Zagat.
I want you to know that we have many, many times been introduced as Nim and Tina.
Okay. I was close. Sorry about that.
It was very familiar.
Better at public cooking than public speaking.
Ambassador Yoshikawa, Ambassador Sakurai, Mrs. Sakurai, honored guests, including so many extraordinary chefs. This building, as was already mentioned, began with Barry Wine bringing great cuisine here. And tonight, to honor David Boulay and Nobu Matsuhisa is a great evening, and so many other chefs here to honor them. The Gohan Society and Zagat Survey share a wish to have the Japanese and American cuisines understood broadly in both of their countries. We both want the mutual understanding between Japan and the United States of their cuisines. There's been huge progress during our lifetimes, and Tim will talk more about that. We want to thank Saori for inviting us to be here this evening. And Tim?
I want to say one thing about these 3 great chefs, Barry Wine, David Boulay, and Nobu Matsuhisa. In the case of Nobu, his restaurant is the first place we go every time we go to Los Angeles. We don't go to any hotel until we've eaten there. Barry and David Boulay each held the position of #1 rated restaurant in New York. I would guess for approximately 10 years each, which says a lot that the public appreciated their food. We grew up at a time when Japanese food was almost unknown in America. I remember the first Japanese restaurant that I can recall going to was Nippon, and it's still here, and thank God. But there were very, very few Japanese restaurants at that time, and the American knowledge of Japanese cuisine was virtually nil. When I first was told about going to a sushi restaurant, I thought it was some kind of fraternity prank. And, you know, it's the kind of thing, eating raw fish was the sort of thing you only did when you had to get into a fraternity in America. Now, who knew that today there'd be a sushi bar practically on every corner in America, and there are, I believe, over 10,000 sushi restaurants in the United States, and we did a book some years ago which covered the 1,000 best Japanese restaurants, and they were in every major city. And they were also, Japanese restaurants have come to be respected just as much as French restaurants in our culture. And it's something that could not be conceived of when I was a boy. I have a list of, we have a book called America's Top Restaurants, which you will be receiving. And you'll see that in every major city in America, the number 1, 2, or 3 restaurant is Japanese today. And when we look at the average ratings of Japanese restaurants against all French restaurants, they are practically neck and neck. They are so close, and that is something that no American, even today, I don't think very many Americans would realize that Japanese restaurants were so well thought of. Now, I don't want anybody to think that we should rest on our laurels, or that Japan should. The Japanese cuisine, we have been doing Japanese restaurants for 7 cities in Japan for quite a long time. And I've learned that there are lots and lots of different types of Japanese cuisine that I've never seen in America. And therefore, we have a lot to look forward to. We now see there are more and more ramen restaurants here. There are more and more kaseki, I'm sorry. My Japanese wife will help me out. But they're really, when we started doing Tokyo, we came up with 25 different types of cuisine, most of which had never reached the American shores. Now, not just individual types of Japanese restaurants are important, but Japanese cooking and Japanese style have had a major impact on an awful lot of restaurants that say they're American, but they, for example, California cuisine has a great deal of Japanese influence. And I was reading the book that Saori has done, and which you should all buy copies. I'll sell them to you if you want. But she lists some of the greatest chefs in the United States who are extremely influenced in what they do by Japanese cuisines. And in turn, when you go to any major city in Japan, you see that this goes 2 ways. This is not a one-way bridge. And you see very good Italian restaurants and very good French restaurants appearing in major Japanese cities. So all I can say is, you know, I hope more of this happens. Both Nina and I appreciate everything that has already happened. And I just wanted to close with one story, which has really very little to do with what I've been talking about so far. And Nina and I were invited to be the first American guests on The Iron Chef. I assume most of you have seen The Iron Chef, in Japan, that is. And we went to the studio, which was huge, and we said, what's the ingredient that we're supposed to eat? And they said, uni. And we said, uni with chopsticks. We're gonna have to eat uni with chopsticks, and there's a television camera pointed right at our plate. And it was very nerve-wracking because we thank God we didn't spill any of the uni into our laps because everybody in Japan would have been laughing at us. But we also were happy in turn to be the hosts of the first Iron Chef in the United States. And I think that sort of shows you get it, you get things going and coming. And I think that what's been happening in between Japan and America in terms of not just food, but especially tonight food, has been beneficial to both, and I hope that it continues in the way it has. Thank you. This is the book.
Now, I'd like to introduce the Japanese ambassador to the United Nations. Ambassador Yoshikawa will present the Washoku Ambassador Award to Chef David Bouley and Chef Nobu Matsuhisa. Ambassador Yoshikawa.
Good evening, everybody. This is my great pleasure to be here tonight. I want to thank the dinner chairman, Mr. Michael Romano, and the Saori, the vice chair, Hiroko Konoyama-san, and Mr. and Mrs. Zagat. This is great. This, I usually deal with the issues of crisis. Syria, North Korea, Ukraine, and it doesn't give you much appetite, does it? But tonight, I noticed there are no ambassadors. This is very good. This is going to be not a working dinner as we normally do. I hope you enjoy the evening. So I don't want to stand between this award and the beautiful dinner, which is waiting for you. Everything has been said about the two awardees. David Nobu, probably I can speak least about them, but they have been all spoken. So I would not go to what they have achieved or anything. I think there are two kinds of awards that I see, in my view. And the first is the one normally given to younger generation, talented young people, so that to recognize their potentials, so that they will do much better. You look at the concours of piano, violin, or paintings. The second type is you award those who have accomplished already, become famous, to recognize their accomplishments rather than to give them more of the future potentials. Typically, this is a decoration of the Emperor of Japan that being given to an old ladies and men who have accomplished. Now, to look at the two awardees tonight, they are not as young as the young pianists who go for Chopin concours, but I don't think they belong to my second category. They typically fit into second category, but I think this award is not to be meant to give them that you have accomplished everything in the culinary world can offer. I don't think so. This is the award to ask them to do more There is no such thing as a free award. That means I hope they will be working more to promote the Japanese cooking, Japanese culture, so that the people enjoy the life. More menu is better than one menu. And so I would very much hope that the tonight's award would give the two gentlemen more appetite for to give better food for us, not only in the United States, but in the world. So I would like to ask the two awardees, David Bulley, Nobu Matsuhisa, to step forward so that I don't know what is the award, but I will give them. I should not make mistake. The Gohan Society presents Washoku Ambassador Award to Mr. Nobuyuki Matsuhisa. I think let me, oh, no, not yet. I'm just removing. Let me finish. Difficulty, read. Mr. Nobuhisa, no, Nobuyuki, sorry. You see, you cannot read.
Call me Nobu.
No, Nobu Matsuhisa, owner chef of Nobu, June 4th, 2015, New York. Congratulations. Gohan Society presents Washoku Award, Ambassador Award to Mr. David Bulley, Executive Owner, Chef of Bulley and Brush Stroke, June 4th, 2015, New York. Congratulations. Yes. There are now two more ambassadors. Congratulations. So I would, in whichever order you speak. Maybe Nobu, you start.
Okay. You can sit down, please. don't stand behind me. So good evening. It is an honor to be here tonight to accept the Washoku Ambassador Award tonight. I so much appreciate it. I'm so honored. As a Japanese chef, I am proud, so proud that Washoku has become so popular. So everybody recognize Japanese food right now. So even like sake and the shochus as well. Also, I am very, very proud to see Washoku become part of the UNESCO Intangible Cultural Heritage. I'm very proud. I have lived in so many different countries. And, it was not easy to get people to try the Japanese food, especially raw fish. So even teams like 28 years ago cannot eat raw uni. Do you remember? So now his uni is his favors. Like David makes beautiful uni dishes today. Now uni is very popular now. I have always tried to find the best way to make guests happy. Like I made a uni tempura for you. And I'm so happy that I did not give up my life. And why this is today's, I'm here. I'm the one receiving this Washoku Ambassador Award today, but all my chefs and my staff, they are all ambassadors too. Always, I say to them, it's in my young generation chef, and never give up and try your the best. One day, so dreams can come true. And, I'd like to say thank you so much for the Gohan Society for this honor. Thank you very much.
I love you. Hello. Thank you, all of you, for coming in. Thank you, Terry and Michael and Gohan, for everything that you've done to honor us. I'm going to take you for a quick walk in terms of how I was introduced to Japanese cuisine. It was in the mid to late 90s when we closed the original Boulé. I was on the way to cook for the royal family of Thailand. And Mr. Suji told me, you don't have a restaurant now, so you can come and spend time. We're going to teach you Japanese cooking. So we went to, on the way to Bangkok, we spent 1 week with him. And I remember the first day, we made this water all day long called dashi. And I was very impressed with this water. Second day, we make the same water again. Maybe 35 more kinds of water. I start to think, I don't know about this. What is going to happen the whole week? Third day, more water again. And I think, oh, fourth day, finally, we start to use the dashi. This day, I was seduced because I realized that the Japanese folks who had eaten in Boulé, who used to love the tomato water and other things that we did, with such passion. I never understood why they like tomato water so much. I know it's umami, but why are they crying eating tomato water? And then I understood that we had created a natural dashi, a natural water from Mother Nature. So in those days, I didn't have time to travel. At this time, we had some travel time and we relaxed. He taught me the principles of Japanese cooking. And from that point, I understood a lot about my French background. Because I'm a student of the Nouvelle Cuisine in the 70s. And those chefs in those days were traveling to Japan. And many people don't realize it. And many people in this room have had a tasting menu. But the tasting menu in France started by visiting Japan. The kaiseki menu is what was the transmission from prefixed French style of eating into dégustation or tasting menu. So really, very discreetly, the Japanese have been influencing the world of cooking quietly for years. This is 40 years, 45 years. I also had to learn in Kyoto why the French and why I had to eat crudité all the time my entire life. And every French meal in France was always crudité because it's warming our stomachs with enzymes that are preparing for digestion. I had learned about crudité in Kyoto. So I learned the synergies of French and Japanese cooking. I also started as a very young person with food with my mother, who, I remember I was pulling a peach off a tree. This is a story some of you might have heard. But I think I'm wearing a chef jacket today because of this experience. I was pulling the peach down from the branch. And as the branch was bending, my mother took my hand and put on another peach and pushed this peach up. But when she took my hand back, there was a peach there, and she said, "That's the peach to eat." And so ever since then, I've realized ingredients are important. When I went to Japan, I realized the ingredients are beyond important. They're holy. There's a whole new realm of respect for the ingredients. In fact, not long ago, I was eating at a restaurant called Mibu, which I'm sure you know very well. And I was saying to Mr. Suji, this is a room of only 2 seats. The last time I went there was in the summer, and there's no electricity. So we walked upstairs, took our shoes off. We went to our table, and why is there no electricity in the second week in July? Because fireflies are flying around everywhere, at least in my house in Connecticut. So the owner came out with thousands of fireflies, threw them all around the room, and we celebrate the firefly. Then we celebrate the big sky. I think, what do you call the Japanese big sky? We call it the Milky Way. And I know there's a celebration for that, right? Mr. Milter, is there a name for that? So, what is it called? Okay. All right. So we celebrate Where did all the flies go? In a little room with 2 tables of 4 seats, they're now on the ceiling. And now we're celebrating the big sky. Then the lights go on, and we start lunch. So I was impressed by this. I thought it's pretty interesting. It's the way we grew up celebrating nature, celebrating the right time to eat nature, and then discreetly, as a chef, trying to execute what we have in our kitchens. So as this restaurateur said to me a few weeks ago, I was telling Mrs. Suji, in French, we would do it like this. And Mrs. Suji told the women that what I said, and she said, oh yes, but that's cuisine. We don't do cuisine here. So we do Mother Nature. So now I'm still trying to figure that one out. So that's 6 weeks ago. But this is what a Western world is learning from Japan. I also have learned a lot when I took chefs on professional boats in Massachusetts, when we took them out on professional bass boats with a senior professor, about 80 years old. When the bass started to come on the deck, they grabbed a knife and they killed the fish by pushing into the spinal cord, so the fish died immediately. And then they tapped the tail and they put it into the large buckets. And then he took the water and he put it inside the large bucket. And those of you, if you remember biology class, when you took the frog apart, and then you went to recess and you came back and you moved the frog and the arms were moving and you thought, how is this happening? Well, in the water is a lot of oxygen. The oxygen moves the muscle of the fish and cleans the fillet. So that night, we did a kaiseki meal at Johnson & Johnson in Chatham, Massachusetts. And I invited 2 fishermen. And we held up the striped bass, and it was clear as the window. And the 2 fishermen couldn't believe this. 5 generations, they never saw a striped bass that had the fillet that transparent. So you can see we're still learning from Japanese, and this is what I think the Western chef, I'm sure Michael has some stories. Barry has some wonderful stories. Where are you, Barry? There you are. In terms of how we can influence our cooking and how the Japanese attention to detail in Mother Nature is so important. So I think that where we are today, we should embrace this knowledge and execute it to produce healthier food that has more relation to Mother Nature itself. So I want to thank all the Japanese folks that have taught me, and thank you for honoring me. But thank you. I could tell stories all night about this, but I better stop now. But thank you very, very much.
So thank you for your attention. We'll have our dinner now, and then we'll be back. Sal will be back, and we'll have the presentation of the scholarships. So please enjoy.
sushi chef was my dreams since I was kid. Normally, kids had a dream like the baseball player or the soccer player or the actor. Wow! And I want to be sushi chef immediately.